to clear and then still play a second creature to have some kind of board control. So Shadow Flame isn't that great in Arena. Kodo is really good, and Emperor Cobra is kind of bad. So we'll go with Cobra. Here the worst card is pretty close between Tauren Warrior and Elven Archer, but in Arena, any creature that has Taunt has decent amount of value. So Elven Archer is the worst card here. Here Bluegill is pretty good, Dark Iron's pretty good, and Gurubashi kind of has the same problems as the Cobra. It just kind of dies. So I think Gurubashi is the worst card here. Here, Dread Infernal is one of the best Warlock cards. Farseer is a really good 3-drop, and Priest of Elune is a pretty shitty 6-drop. It's decent in Warlock because that extra life can mean a few extra cards, so when you're like top deck mode, it's actually pretty decent. So it's not too bad for Warlock, but in general, it's pretty crap. Spectral Knight's a great card. Hellfire is a pretty good card. And Silverback Patriarch is just one of the worst, so we're gonna go with that. All right, let's update people. Let's have them. Worst card arena. Let's do this. So here. Hellfire's pretty bad, Baby Bodyguard's pretty bad. The Sacrificial Pact is just like really horrible. Like it's just this completely worthless card most of the time. Ooze is the best card here, followed by Shattered Sun, followed by Brewmaster. Brewmaster's not really that bad, but you know, in this set of 3, it's the worst. MC Tech is really good. And Ravenholt is alright, but Pint Size is generally the worst one. So we're just going to go with Pint Sized here. Boulder Fist is one of the best 6-drops. Stormpike is pretty decent in Arena actually. And Corruption is just a piece of crap. Vile Teacher is good. Welling Soul is pretty bad. And Ancient Watcher is pretty horrible in Arena because it's hard to activate. So we'll just go with that, and we probably will not find an activation for him. Here, Argus is the best. Felguard's actually quite good. And then MC Tech is also really good. I think Felguard is the worst of the 3, but it's also pretty decent. The problem that we're going to have is that Felguard by itself is not really that good, but it's good with Void Callers, and there's no way we're picking Void Callers because Void Caller is the best possible card, doing the worst card arena here. So Felguard is the worst. Here I think the Dark Skill is the best, but it's pretty close to Frost Elemental. I think Scarlet Crusader is the worst just because pinging off 1 damage and doing that kind of shit is pretty rough. But it's still pretty decent. Dread Infernal, again, one of the best cards. Summoning Portal and Southsea Deckhand are both pretty horrible, man. Yeah. I don't know which one's the worst. I think the Deckhand's the worst, to be honest. We were saying Portal. Fine, let's go with Portal. Here's Zombie Chow's really strong. Dreadfall's like the best card, so Earthen Ring just not as good. Void Caller's the best card. Dowler Mage is pretty bad, but I'd consider Voodoo Doctor even worse. Dowler Mage can at least do some kind of combos and stuff. Go with the Voodoo Doctor there. Grimscale Oracle is the worst card in the game. Because it's It's strictly worse than a Wisp. It's a 1/1 that actually does cost mana, and sometimes you don't have other murlocs, so you might buff your opponent. Chillwind's a great card. Spiteful Smith is actually a great card even if you don't have a weapon. Mad Bomber is excellent. Lord of the Arena is pretty bad, but because it's Arena, just having a decent sized taunt is pretty good. Dragonling is easily the worst card here. MC Tech again, very strong. Void Terror is alright. I think Deathlord is the worst card here. I think Deathlord and Void Terror actually pretty close. Like, by itself, they're both pretty bad. Deathlord is horrible. Deathlord finally. Void Terror is the worst. Alright, most of the votes are for Deathlord, so we'll go with Deathlord. Void Caller is the best card. Soulfire is one of the best cards, so we go with the Namani, which is a pretty good 2-drop. Sea Giant's one of the best epics. I consider Bane of Doom pretty good in Arena, so Twisting Nether is the worst one here. Nether Hype. Sacrificial Pact again. It's one of the worst cards possible. I'll go with another Summoning Portal, I guess. Again, Dreadfernal's really good. Spectral Knight's really good. So Nightblade. I think Master Swordsmith is the worst here. Felguard's alright. Pint Sight's pretty bad. But Master Swordsmith just usually gets killed for free for no reason. So we'll go with him. Shadow Belt's decent. Frost Elemental's good. Booty Bay's kind of bad. So we'll go with Booty Bay. Haunted Creeper is really good. Bluegill is pretty good. And Stormwind Knight is also pretty good. Between Bluegill and Stormwind Knight, it's pretty close. I think Stormwind Knight is a little worse than Bluegill in general. Strictly on a card-by-card basis. I think it is. God. It took this fucking draft to get every single Sacrificial Pact ever, right? 3 Sacrificial Pacts so far. Demon Fire's alright. Jungle Panther's alright. Dancing Swords is pretty bad, because giving your opponents any kind of cards is just really bad in Arena. Earthen Ring Farseer is pretty good. Voidwalker is pretty bad in Arena. It's not really the worst. Nightblade's kind of in the same boat. I think I'll go with Nightblade. I think it's a little worse. Here, Sledge Belcher is a great rare. Bloodsteel Corsair is not too bad, because often when you ooze the weapon, it only has 1 charge anyway. So Bloodsteel Corsair is kind of like a shitty ooze. Secret Keeper, I mean, that card is terrible.